Well, good morning. This is Kay Powell from Speedy Tax Services, and I am here today being sponsored and asked by Black Small Business Association of California. Man, we have got a treat for you today. I hope that you will share this and let everybody know about this because, as a tax person and professional, this is one of the questions I get from businesses all day. I need funding. What do I do? So I'm so excited that we are going to have a workshop today. And the person that we're going to be talking to is not only a great person who I really enjoy, she really resolves things. Like when I send her stuff, she sends me answers. Not one time has she not sent answers. So I'd like to introduce to you, and I'm so excited to have Heather Luzzi. She is the district director of the Sacramento for SBA. Good morning, Heather.
Hey, good morning, Pastor Kay. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, and I'm so happy to be here too for you because I have so many clients. I know BSBA has tons of clients. Good morning, that want to know about funding. There's grants out there. There's all the kind of things under there,
Mhm.
but people are like, how can I help my business? And what can SBA do for me? So can you like give them like some kind of highlight of funding opportunities that
Mhm.
SBA offers to small businesses?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So, the United States Small Business Administration has been around since 1953. We were virtually an unknown federal agency until COVID hit. Very few borrowers or applicants knew about us because we really don't do direct lending. Our flagship programs are basically guarantee programs to lending institutions. So what that means for a small business applicant is that the federal government assists in the risk that the bank takes on the applicant. And that is by providing this guarantee. So we're kind of work behind the scenes. If that loan goes bad, then the federal government will step in and make that lending institution whole or semi-whole. It helps the banks with mitigating their risk. And the reason for this is to kind of push them over the edge to say yes, more so than saying no. So perhaps if the applicant business perhaps had a prior bankruptcy, or there is a lack of collateral, or something that just doesn't fit the bank's or lending institution's guidelines, getting that SBA guarantee will get them to a yes.
Oh,
So that's kind of first and foremost. With the COVID pandemic, we were kind of thrust into the limelight, right? So
yes.
SBA, everybody knows about now. And the agency was able to create several programs based on the CARES Act that was passed in March of 2020. So what we actually did was created a program called the Paycheck Protection Program. Many of you may have heard about that, or PPP, where it was a forgivable loan. So provided specific parameters were met, the loan was 100% forgiven. Again, that was provided by lending institutions and not a direct loan by SBA. Another program that was created was our Economic Injury Disaster Loan was morphed. Now, keep in mind, we've always had a disaster division. So we help in times of floods or hurricanes, tornadoes, anything like that. We work with our sister agency, which would be FEMA, or the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And we assist businesses, homeowners, renters, etc. We've always done that, but we took that program kind of to the next level and provided it throughout the United States and the US territories for any business that was affected by COVID and having to close or reduce their hours, or perhaps modify their business model to, say, for a restaurant, do takeout, or something along those lines. So all of a sudden we were thrust into the spotlight. With these two programs, we've done a great job, but we've also hiccuped along the way, and we own that. We totally own that. But I will say that, prior to the pandemic, we were an agency of just about 2,000 people. At the height of us processing over 19 million loans that we got in, we had about 14,000 employees.
Wow.
And that's including temporary workers and contractors. So with that said, we've done our best to keep up. The Paycheck Protection Program is now in the forgiveness portion. So we're working with the lending institutions towards that forgiveness. We've created an automated system where the applicants can come and get access to direct forgiveness from SBA, provided that their lending institution opts in. And with the economic injury disaster loan, that is still up and running. We've had a couple of iterations of that program. We now have that program capped at $500,000. It is a 30-year term at an interest rate of 3.75%. So if you're in need for capital, for anything, if you're paying back rents, if you're paying, suppliers, if you're having difficulties with, keeping up with your bills, look to that EIDL loan program or economic injury disaster loan. That's available until December 31st. So don't miss out on that opportunity. Great opportunity. There's a couple of other programs, Pastor K, that we've got as well that are kind of, that we've always had, our 7A program and our 504 program. And I know you guys are going, what is 7A? What is 504? Yeah. Essentially, those are only the names of the programs as they were named in the Small Business Act. So from the standpoint of a business applicant, you can go to your lending institution and say, okay, I need a business loan and here's what I'm looking at. And perhaps they say, you know what, you're a startup. We don't do startups. They're too risky for us, whatever the case. You can then say, okay, what about an SBA loan? Because SBA will do startups. We do require at least a 10% equity injection into that business. So you can look to friends, family, whatever you can do to get that 10% and then start your own business. I mean, it's a great opportunity. Okay. The other thing, so the 7A program will do a whole menagerie of use of proceeds, and that can be working capital, the expansion, startup a business, equipment, a building, whatever. The 504 program, on the other hand, is a I'm trying to find the best way to explain this. It's kind of a public-private partnership of sorts. Oh, okay. The 504 program is for commercial real estate and heavy equipment. So whether you're purchasing a business or expanding your business or purchasing heavy equipment for, say, manufacturing or something along those lines, that program would be the best suited. Okay. What that does is we work with a lending institution, say a bank. The bank lends at 50%. So they have a first trust deed on that security, that real estate. Okay. So the bank is much more apt to lend because they've got a 50% loan to value. I mean, that's great. Yeah. Then a certified development corporation comes in, CDC, which are essentially economic development kind of agencies within the territories. They come in with an SBA guarantee at 40%. So what happens then, the applicant, again, requires a 10% injection or down payment, and the whole package goes together. So it's really a great benefit for small businesses who are looking to purchase real estate. On the conventional market, you can't touch commercial real estate for 10% down. You just, it's not heard of. So those are just a couple of opportunities that businesses have. You know, the agency has a bunch of different loan programs. We've got a microloan program that works anywhere between $500 and $50,000. Okay. We have micro lenders within our district boundaries, and quite honestly, across the state and across the nation that will work with those applicants. There's just a ton of different funding options and mechanisms. And truly, if we as the federal government are not able to help you, we can help refer you to one of our resource partners. And Pastor Key, I know that you're familiar with our resource partners, but perhaps your audience isn't. So let me just tell you what those are.
Okay.
We have entities that we fund as the federal government. They're funded by our tax dollars. And those would be the Small Business Development Centers, our SCORE volunteers and mentors, our women's business centers, and then our veterans business outreach centers. What these entities do is to help you as a small business get ready for financing. And whether that's financing through a lending institution or a micro lender or, anything, crowdfunding, angel investing, whatever, we help you get ready for that. And this is all done at no cost. And the reason it's done at no cost is because you've already paid for it in your tax dollars.
Oh, that's awesome.
Exactly. And because you've already paid for it, why not take advantage of these programs? It's just kind of a no-brainer. So I know that's a lot of information.
Yep, but I love it.
Questions.
Okay. So I have a number of questions.
Perfect.
First of all, the no cost, the resource partners, I really love that because I have found, especially even in the EIDL increase or the EIDL thing, that you guys have sent information to small business, say, what's your business plan? Yes. So I'm sure that these partners can help people get their business plan developed and get them, get them narrowed down. Lena says for the 7A, it's 10% of the loan amount requested, correct? So if they want a $10,000 loan, they need to supply the 1,000.
Correct. So that's the minimum on, and again, that's for a startup, requires 10%.
Startup, yes. Okay.
So if you're already in business and looking towards expansion, et cetera, you can still utilize that 7A loan. It doesn't necessarily require that minimum injection because you have historical earnings. We're going to look to the history.
What FICO score do they look at? So if you were a business, because what I find out, a lot of small businesses don't have a business credit.
Yeah, exactly. So you're right. And there are a couple of different things here, and I'll try to be simple in my explanation here. With 7A and 504 loans, the SBA itself does not have a minimum credit score requirement. Okay. However, because these are guarantee programs, the lending institution may have that minimum credit score. Okay. So it could be that the lender, XYZ lender down the street says, okay, we want a 660 credit score. You go to, Joe's Bank, and Joe's Bank wants a, 620 credit score. So just shop around. And, it's really a great thing for a business to do is interview your bank. This is a partnership that you are going to have. This is a relationship that should bring you long-term. If you're not happy with your bank or they don't believe in you or your business, search elsewhere. This is something that's really important to you because you need to pick up the phone and say, Joe loan officer, here's what I need and here's when I need it. And they should be able to act accordingly. A lot of community banks and credit unions have that personal relationship with their applicants, which is so, so important from my perspective.
I totally agree. I have a client on here, an audience that says, do you need to have a business plan, business credit, and a capability statement for those loans?
So if it's a startup business, yes, you do have to have a business plan. Business credit is something that Business credit is a little different. So there's not necessarily this thing that's just called a business credit score. It's like a FICO. It's kind of a generic term, like Kleenex, right? So, well, it's true. So each
I
of the
love it.
repositories has a different formula for calculating the credit score. And there's 3 different
Yeah.
repositories. So the repositories are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. With those, each of them have a different formula. For business credit, the SBA looks to a formula done by Dun & Bradstreet. So Dun & Bradstreet creates a business profile, a business credit, and then we actually have a proprietary system where we have a score that is issued to us by them. So a little bit different there.
Yeah.
Now, I know that I said on like the 7A programs, we don't have that minimum credit score. But on the economic injury disaster loans, we do have a minimum credit score because we as SBA are the direct lender in that program. That minimum is 570. Now, 570 is extremely liberal. Really, it's fairly easy to obtain a 570. I will caution you though, because what we're going to look at in addition to that credit score is how you've paid your debts in the past. If you have a ton of outstanding collections or liens or something along those lines, those are going to have to be taken care of prior to us approving any type of a loan. So just to get you a little bit of back knowledge there.
Well, that's really good. That's great information. And I do know that you guys are experiencing, you were just talking to us about a tremendous backlog. I mean, 19 million applications is this, I can't even imagine having to have that as a workload. And SBA has made a commitment to catch up by August 16th.
Yes, that's what we're in the process of doing. So we have implemented a lot of different processes and procedures over the last, say, 18 months during this COVID pandemic. We've gone through, some ups and downs, and it hasn't always been perfect. And we own that. We absolutely. But we have implemented through technology, and again, those public private partnerships have really assisted us in the technology fashion to get these to go through an automated system. With an automated system, say, for example, on these EIDL loans, it helps us to just have everything done so that somebody can just do a cursory review versus a full underwrite of that file. That's what really takes the time, is that full underwrite. With the Paycheck Protection Program, for example, with the forgiveness platform that we just launched a couple of weeks ago, we have again, an automated fashion there, and it simply gives us a pass or a fail. And if it's a fail, that simply means that you've got to provide the documentation. If it's a pass, we don't require that documentation, although it's of benefit for you to hang on to that. But it just tries to streamline these things because, again, Pastor Kay, we're such a small agency. The amount of work and volume that has come through our office or our agency in the last 18, 19 months has just been incredible. And then, keep in mind that the infrastructure bill just passed the Senate and it's going to go to the House. SBA has a huge part in that as well. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens, over the next several months and even years on how we're going to further support small businesses.
Well, I want to get back to that. There is a question on the table real quick because I still want to talk to you real quick about the EIDL stuff. But on the table, it says, is there a list of banks that SBA works with?
You know what? That's a great question. Honestly, we do have a list, but a better thing for you to do is to go to our website. We have a thing called Lender Match. So you can go to sba.gov/lender-match. and type in the parameters of what you're looking for. And you will be then matched with lenders in your area that will provide that type of financing.
Oh,
So,
good.
And Selena, if you're trying to pull that up, just go up to the hourglass or magnifying glass and type in lender match, and that should bring you right there. I may have messed up that website there. But this is a great tool. So whether you're looking for an SBA lender or any other kind of lender, you will
go.
get lenders that are in your community that would be inclined to deal with your particular transaction.
Oh, so, man, that was excellent. Yeah.
It's a great tool.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's great. Okay, thank you for answering that. I'm going to go back to the idle. So
sure.
In the idle, there's a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. There are people that were using their 2019 taxes to request one. There are some people that didn't start their business till 2020. And when will SBA be accepting requests for using 2020 documents?
So, the 2020 documents, if the entity started in 2020, they should have already filed their 2020 taxes.
Yes.
So those should have been done unless there was an extension filed.
Right.
We would love to see what that revenue was in 2020, even in light of the pandemic.
Okay.
So it's going to give us a good gauge in moving forward of how your business is going to look.
Okay.
Those financials in conjunction with your business plan are very, very important for those newer companies.
So they can go ahead and submit them. Because I had a conversation with SBA, and he said they were right now working on 2019. And so when will they be working on 2020?
So it depends on where the applicant is in the queue to be, looked at. So if it requires, that manual underwrite and newer businesses most likely would, we would look at those in the order in which they were received. So that being said, if the business opened in the beginning of 2020, because you would have had to have been opened by February 15th, I think, of 2020. And we would then look at those 2020 returns as well as your business plan. And the business plan should include projected income. And the projected income should have the assumptions included. And what I mean by that is that if you say within your business plan, I believe I'm going to make $300,000 in profit, and here's how I'm going to do it. Those are assumptions. It's assuming this, you're going to gain this. So hopefully that makes sense.
And is that something that your resource partners can help people put together?
Absolutely. That's a great point. Any one of our resource partners will assist in developing those business plans. As a matter of fact, SCORE, which is SCORE, score.org, O-R-G, has a great business plan template that you can use, but it's also really important to kind of run those by somebody. Get a second opinion. They're going to point out some maybe deficiencies that you didn't recognize. It's just a great way to get that starting of the business plan. The Women's Business Center, same thing. Our Women's Business Center, we run through California Capital here in Sacramento. And then we also have the Women's Business Center up in Shasta County through JEDI, J-E-D-I. And those are great organizations as well.
Okay, that's good information. So what did you say California Capital is for the women?
California Capital, they are located in Sacramento, and that's the Women's Business Center. And they will assist with those as well. Through California Capital, they also have a procurement technical assistance center. And what that is, it's a program that will assist contractors or folks that are interested in partnering with the federal government or selling to the federal government. So a PTAC, or Procurement Technical Assistance Center, is available through California Capital as well. So great resource. The folks there are wonderful. And even though it says Women's Business Center, they assist men as well. So don't let that deter you.
Okay, well, that's exciting. Okay, I'm sorry. You are such a wealth of information. I just love that you're direct. And you know, people, I'm telling you, Heather, I have sent her emails and she always helps. Okay, so we have Marie James says she had to resubmit another reconsideration. I have submitted all required documents and still told my business started after 1/2020. So are you saying I was in business prior to, but I did not gain my LLC until 6/2020?
That's where the problem is that
Mm-hmm.
if you started it as a sole proprietor, Marie, that would have been fine had you kept that same structure. Because your business structure changed, it means your entire business changed. And therefore it's considered a startup at that point.
Oh,
So, another option for you, even other than the EIDL program, is perhaps a microloan or another type of transaction that would be better for your small business. The other resource partner that we've got the benefit of having here in the Sacramento area is the Small Business Development Center. They have a finance center that's here in Sacramento. It's called the NorCal Finance Center, or NorCal SBDC. They can assist you with matching you with a lender, with private equity, with angel invest. I mean, just a whole menagerie of things. They're a great, great resource. And they, again, also offer assistance in business planning and capability statements, anything along those lines.
now let me ask you, what about a nonprofit organization? How do they benefit from any of this?
Sure. So a couple of the programs that have come to light with the COVID pandemic have been offered to nonprofits. Typically, SBA does not support nonprofits because we have a focus of small businesses and we want those to be for-profit businesses, your little mom and pop shops, etc. But with the pandemic, we now are offering nonprofit assistance through the Economic Injury Disaster Loan.
Okay.
They are able to, again, get the assistance that perhaps the pandemic, maybe, had an adverse effect on their donors or whatever the case is. So we absolutely will look at those during this time. A 7A loan is not an appropriate transaction for a nonprofit, but that EIDL loan is.
Okay, that's good business. That's really good. Okay, so now, what do
Yeah.
you think the infrastructure bill that was just signed? What
Mhm.
is there any goodies in there for the small business? Any help in there that's written in there that could help our struggling small business or upcoming one?
Yeah, that's a great question, Pastor K. Unfortunately, because I'm
Too
a federal
early.
employee and it's not law yet, I can't discuss it. Other than
Oh,
we are really looking forward to small businesses being able to flourish with the infrastructure that's being talked about. So as far as how the agency is going to engage in that, I just can't say at this time.
well, what would you recommend since you can't let the birdie out of the hat? What would you recommend that businesses do to get themselves in position? Do you have any recommendations that people could start?
Absolutely. So when you think about infrastructure, think about, roads, bridges, that type of thing. But also think about broadband internet. Think about those things that perhaps don't come to mind right away. If you have those types of businesses or are creating those types of businesses, it would really benefit you to look to that Procurement Technical Assistance Center, or PTAC, through California Capital, and they can walk you through kind of how to get ready for government contracting. Additionally, the state of California, through the Department of General Services, or DGS, has a great program as well. So those two things, I would say, would be really beneficial for those types of businesses. Any type of contracting with the federal government. And then, in Northern California here, that broadband thing is going to be great. We are so looking forward to that.
Okay, so now we're winding up, but I just wanted to, we've been 30 minutes, but we're just going to answer any Q&As. So here's a question, and I think this is a good question, and I don't know how you can help, but we do have some applicants that have submitted their 2019 to IRS. They mailed them in, or even some people that I know e-filed them, but IRS moved them to the manually process,
right?
And so they can't confirm their business with a 4506T.
Exactly. So that's been a challenge. Absolutely, it has been a challenge. So we are working closely with our federal partners at the IRS to create a direct link to them. There is something, there's already some type of direct links, but we're working on another one simply from the agency to the IRS to get those transcripts verified. Now, I don't have a time frame on that. This is definitely a problem. It's been a problem across the country. We do have our IRS liaison here in the Sacramento area. Her name is Cristela Sanchez, and I would love to bring her on to your show, Pastor K. I think that would be very helpful.
Yes.
And the IRS is aware of this problem. They're working on it. And again, they are doing all they can to get these processed as quickly as possible. They, of course, had the issue of having everybody telework, and because of the pandemic, and because this is personally identifiable information, or PII, you can't leave the office with this information. So it's very, very difficult for our friends at the IRS. So again, they are aware and working on it, and we're hopeful to have a solution very, very soon.
Yes, I am very much aware of that. Okay, good news. I want to tell you that I have helped some clients on the PPP portal forgiveness.
Great.
It has worked fantastic. They were approved within minutes. Took
Excellent.
10 minutes to do it, and then they got an email saying they're approved. So kudos to SBA.
Oh, thank you.
I know you guys have big responsibilities, but I want to give you that while I can, because I am very excited. I'm like, you guys can do this. It's so awesome. Now, my company, US Bank, they refused it. They opt out. But I have to tell you, I submitted, and now with them, it was different. I had to submit documents. I wanted to do yours, but I had to submit documents.
Right.
But they did approve it, and they have submitted it to SBA. So for the banks or lending agencies, there is a 2-point. They have to approve it. Then they have to send it to SBA for approval.
Correct.
So I have to tell you that I just want to appreciate that portal was exciting. It was easy to navigate around. It was just the bomb.
You know what? I still appreciate that, because, truly, you hear all the bad stuff. You don't necessarily hear the good stuff. So I really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Now I got some bad stuff.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay. I have to do it. Okay. All right. So the thing about it on the idle, I'm just going to tell you a couple of problems. So I've had a couple clients help them put in the reconsideration for the idle increase or whatever. We receive a automatic saying, thank you for, blah, 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 blah. And then 2, 3, 4 weeks, month later, we call SBA. They say they never got anything. That's a little disturbing.
Absolutely.
So my clients have had to resubmit their packages 3 or 4 times, even with proof from your automatic system. I know this is not your problem, but just in case you're in some big meeting and they say, is our automatic system this perfect? Well, we know nothing is. But I do. And so now I've had to tell my clients an extra step. put all that through. We email it. You get something from SBA saying, we received it, thank you, but they have to follow up. Because if they don't follow up, and I have to tell you, this happened to me personally. So I've submitted it 100 times, and you've helped me and all that. And I submitted again. Finally, they did tell me they got it.
Good.
So
Good.
we know also, though, that's disheartening because they
It
also
is.
said it's a 12-week process. So I waited a week, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and that don't even count towards now the 12 weeks
Right.
that it takes to process all of this information. Some clients are getting more information from SBA. Okay, Camille, I'll tell you that. Saying now they want, like what you said, a business plan. What are you going to do with the money? What is your projection of what's going on? So they're getting that. So that's why I spent some time with you for guidance for those that have to do that. Because if I have to do it, it's going to cost because it's time and effort.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I can't just do that for free. But if they can help themselves, that would be great. There was a question on here. The PPP loan, can people still apply for it? And Camille, we know that it's closed. We don't know what Congress could do in the future. We will not say that it'll never come back, but we will say that PPP 1 and PPP 2 are closed.
Correct. Yeah.
And the infrastructure plan does not have any PPP funds in it. We do know that. So what I would tell businesses or people, keep your paperwork together, keep your structure together, and stay in position for anything that might come. We don't know, but you don't want to scramble at the last minute trying to do your taxes and trying to do this and trying to get my business account and trying to be in position for whatever. This, if we haven't learned anything, tell you we've learned that.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. Thank you.
Any more questions about loans? The number is posted for the Sacramento SBA that you can call that. They are always willing to help. They are a great resource. Again, and I will reach out to IRS. You gave me the number. Oh, okay. Is it too late to apply for EIDL loans? Ashley said EIDL loans. Go ahead. You can answer that.
They are available through December 31st of this year. So absolutely apply. No doubt.
Right.
It's a great opportunity for you.
Right. There's help for you. So you can do that. Just get your stuff together, you guys. I remember what happened was when the it first came out, you can get these grants and everything, and they were saying if you a gig and everybody applied for all these things, got their $1,000, and then what they said was, okay, now let's see some paperwork. And everybody kind of went a little sideways about that. So you guys do your paperwork, make sure you're legit. Federal money is not going to nobody if you ain't got your paperwork. Again, you are just a breath of fresh air because you are such a willing person, and they got the right person in this position. Heather, you are fantastic. I will reach out to IRS, and maybe we can have both of you guys on my show at the same time. But we appreciate you so much. Don't you go nowhere.
I have no plans of going anywhere. I love my job, and I love working with people like you. So, Pastor Kay, thank you so very, very much for having me. It's truly my honor and pleasure, and I hope to be back soon. Oh, I can't hear you. I think you're on mute. I'm not sure.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what happened either, but I can't hear.
Okay. Okay, well, we can't hear you. So I'm just going to close the show out. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Pastor Kay, my hostess with the mostest. And we will see you guys next time. I hope you got something out of this. Have a great day.